Hey everybody, it's the guy who uploads a video about my two favorite Beatles songs every weekend. So yeah, the obvious question is, where did that series go and what am I gonna do with it? That's a big thing, I suppose. Okay, well here's what happened. Oops, I'm a junior in high school. Oops, I had the ACTs to take. Oops, I was in a school play that was actually one of the best experiences of my life. Oops, I have homework. What's another one? Oops, I kind of lost interest. Oops, I figured out that my list kind of changes from week to week, so I already don't agree with my first 10 choices. Okay, that's enough of that. Anyways, recently I've been watching a lot of the Canadian Studmuffin, who has quickly become maybe my favorite YouTube channel. And one of his videos that he put out recently was about the 10 most influential albums from your teenage years. I kind of wanted to do the same thing, but as I'm a teenager right now, I decided I would go for my entire lifespan, since my whole lifespan is literally only 17 years. So, without further ado, I want to get into my top 10 most influential music albums of all time. That doesn't mean they're my favorite or anything, that just means they have had a big impact on me in some way, and they still impact me to this day. But before we get down to the actual top 10, I want to go through 4 or 5 honorable mentions, because I can't. It's hard to narrow them all down. Also, all of these ones that I'm about to show are all on records just coincidentally. The rest of this video won't all be about records. It'll be digital music or CDs that I have, all kinds of stuff. So these aren't in any particular order, the honorable mentions at least. My first honorable mention is Wheels Are Turnin' by REO Speedwagon. It's got one of my favorite songs of all time on it, Can't Fight This Feeling, and the rest of it is just super solid, and I've been listening to it for I don't know how long, since I was in 7th grade I think. So, good album. Another one, fantastic album, Frontiers by Journey, which is amazing. It has the greatest slow dance song of all time on it with Faithfully, and it opens with Separate Ways / Worlds Apart, which is another one of the best songs ever made. So if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what will. It's just super solid. Another honorable mention, and some would probably think this would be on my most impactful, but it's not. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles is one of the greatest albums of all time. I don't know if I can say it's their best, like I've said many times before, but it is one of the most solid products ever put out. Not only is the music fantastic, but it is a visual icon, and it's amazing, and it deserves to be. It's incredible. It's a really fantastic album, and it's one of their albums, if not the album that I listen to the most. Electric Light Orchestra's Discovery, which is one of the most solid albums of all time. There isn't a song on here that I don't like. It is just about perfect. I can't say much else, and all the artwork is really cool. The song listing is perfect. My favorite on the album is The Diary of Horace Wimp, and I love it. It's fantastic, and you should check it out if you like 70s rock music. And the last one on my honorable mentions is actually the album that is always behind me in every video that I do on this side of my room. The Peanuts movie soundtrack. I got this as a gift last year for Secret Santa that I was doing with some of my theater group that I'm in at school. And just on where I was at that point in my life, and I still listen to it all the time, it meant the world to me, and it still does. And if the person who gave me this record is out there watching this, you probably don't know just how much it meant to me, and I love it. It's one of the best gifts I've ever received, and I genuinely thank you. Also, happy belated Easter. And I'm going to be cranking out a few videos over the next few days because I've been in a really deep hole of depression the past few months, and I haven't wanted to do anything, and this is one of the only days in quite a while that I haven't been sad over something. So I'm going to record a few videos today, get them out over the next week, so hopefully maybe not the next week, maybe the next few coming weeks, but yeah, you'll at least have something to watch. Okay, now on to the actual list. These aren't in any particular order. They're just, I don't know, they're how I wrote them down on the piece of paper that I'm looking at right now. First one is Boston's first album, Boston. I have been listening to particularly More Than a Feeling and Peace of Mind for years of my life before I ever knew what Boston was. And when I finally got my hands on the full album, I was very pleasantly surprised. And it keeps showing up wherever I go, and I love listening to it. So, super solid album. Second most influential, well, no. So, these aren't in any particular order, like I said. So, just another influential album. Foster the People's first album, Torches. Foster the People is probably my favorite band of all time, and it's a modern band, and I hate modern music for the most part, which is really cool. This isn't my favorite album from them, but obviously it's the first one I ever heard, so it's super important to me. I listen to it all the time. I love almost every song on here. There's only one Foster the People song that I don't like, but there's one on here, while all the other ones rank pretty high for me, that is just a little lower, but it's still pretty good. I mean, I love Foster the People, and they are probably at least the band that I listen to the most, other than the Beatles. So, yeah, Foster the People are really great. And if you haven't heard any of their music, which I highly doubt, you should check them out because they're fantastic. Third on the list, which I own digitally, is the Awesome Mix Volume 1 from Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the greatest movies released in the 2000s. And Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is a great follow-up to it. Not even just one of the best action movies from this generation, but just one of the best movies. It's so well written and well made, and the effects are amazing. And when I saw this in 2014, believe it or not, I didn't have a huge catalog of old music that I listened to, since that's usually what I tend to listen to. I had a few tapes and a few CDs that had some old stuff, and then I'd listen to the radio every now and then. But then with Awesome Mix Volume 1, when that came out and I bought it, I found out that there was actually more music out there that I could listen to that I would really enjoy. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Another very influential album for me, and I'm gonna count these two together because the band doesn't have a lot of music, and their second album is technically just a single, so I'm putting them together. It's Hills Firefly and Run with the Hunted. Run with the Hunted has some of the most, entrancing music I've ever heard. And it has really incredible lyricism, and I really enjoy the music. I don't know. And Danny Avidan's vocals are just incredible. And Firefly by itself is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. And the lyricism in that is even better, because it's all metaphoric and all nice. It's really cool. Another very influential album is Big Time Rush's Elevate, which is probably my favorite album from them, of the 3 and a whole mess of singles that they have. This came out on my birthday in 2011, and believe it or not, Big Time Rush was really my introduction to pop music. It kind of introduced me to this world of music that I otherwise didn't know about up until that point. The only other real exposure to music was a CD that my mom gave me, which I will get into later in this list. But yeah, they are a very special band to me, and I still listen to them from time to time. So I think this album really, even though none of it was written by them and it was only performed and it was a big old corporate thing, I think this album really improved over the last one, and it mixed a few good singles in there, and it was overall pretty solid, especially at the time. And I still listen to it every now and then. So, there you have it. Another influential album, and the last one that I have on vinyl, is without a doubt Magical Mystery Tour. It was the first Beatles album I ever heard over at a friend's house. We were sitting around playing games, watching movies, and they had this playing in the background. And, what was it? When Strawberry Fields Forever and Hello Goodbye, well, Hello Goodbye first, then Strawberry Fields, and then Baby You're a Rich Man came on, that's what made me get into the Beatles in the first place. But this album is also one of their best albums, in my opinion, even though it's only an album in America. But I love every song on this album. Like I said in one of my Top 100 Beatles songs videos, every song from this album is in my Top 100, and even though it always switches around, that still remains true. It's a super solid album. Maybe not their best, but I love it to death. So, Magical Mystery Tour. Some people might disagree with me because I'm including a few compilations and greatest hits albums on this list, which some people would think you should choose the actual albums where the songs are from, but I don't care. I listen to what I want. So, another one of my most influential albums is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' Greatest Hits. It is maybe the most solid greatest hits collection I've ever heard, because there's not a song that I don't like on there. And there's a few songs, like Learning to Fly, Into the Great Wide Open, and Don't Come Around Here No More, that are some of the most influential and greatest songs I've ever heard in my short life. And I constantly listen to this album on repeat, even, it's fantastic. And it's honestly too bad that Tom Petty died earlier. Was it this year or the end of last year? Doesn't matter. It was a few months just after I really got into his music. So, I miss the guy. But yeah, this is a super solid album that everybody should check out. This is the CD I was talking about earlier, that my mom used to listen to when she was a teenager. Rock On 1976, the top 40 chartbusters of 1976. I listened to this constantly, and I still do, because it has one of, if not my favorite song of all time on it, Saturday Night by the Bay City Rollers. It's a great mix, and even though I only like about half of the songs on here, or I listen to them constantly at least, I have so many memories with this that I could never get rid of it, because it was my introduction to music, basically. So I love it, and I think the Rock On series is still going. If not, it was replaced by That's What I Call a Waste of Time, and yeah. It's super solid, and it's just fun to reminisce on a time that I wasn't even born yet, to see just what was popular at the time. It's pretty cool. Second to last most influential albums for me. I'm good at speaking. And again, these aren't in any order. Is the Queen Platinum Collection, which I also own digitally. It's like 53 songs. It's crazy. Queen is one of the most talented bands of all time, and I love all of their music that I've heard. News of the World is a fantastic album. But it mixes so many songs by them that I like. Radio Gaga, Under Pressure, Killer Queen, It's a Kind of Magic. I like almost every song on this album, which is incredible to say when there are 53 songs to listen to. I don't know what else to say other than that Queen is one of my favorite bands, and that this is an amazing buy, not only if you're a Queen fan, but just if you like good music, because it's real good. It's really, really good. And my last most influential album on CD, and it's technically 2 albums, but I got them together when I believe I was 9 or 10 years old, is Keith McNees' The Gun Show, and also Keith McNees' Shine On. It's a double album. So, I personally got this from Heath McNees. I met him twice, not 3 times. I got this the second time that I met him. The first time I met him was at a concert that my church was throwing for another artist, and he was the starting act. I loved it. He did some really cool on the spot raps. It was a lot of fun. And then he gave me like a free thing, and he signed it since it was my first concert that I'd ever been to. And then the second time that I saw him was for another concert that was that my church was doing for a Valentine's Day thing. And he did his whole thing and everything, and there were photo ops with him afterward. So I got a couple pictures with him, which are probably showing up there. But while we were there, it was like this big dinner, and he was speaking and he was singing some music, because not only is he a rapper, but he has this amazing voice, and he can do some really incredible, beautiful music when he's not rapping. But while we were eating and he was talking and stuff, I had a paper and pencil, and I was drawing a picture of him with his microphone, holding his acoustic guitar and singing, and stuff like that. And I gave that picture to him after the concert, whatever. And he really liked it, and he reached into his guitar bag and he pulled this out for me, brand new, and he gave it to me, which was really nice. Then I got a couple free pictures with him, and he signed them again, which was really nice. And then I met him another time a couple years later, but that wasn't anything super special. But not only do I have a lot of memories with this album, but it is solid. I really wish more people knew about him, because he is a fantastic artist. Not only can he rap really well, especially for being white. Sorry, I don't want to involve race into this. Not only can he rap really well, which is fun, but his lyricism is funny. He's really funny, but his lyricism can be really funny, and at the same time, it can like cut you. It can cut you deep. Because not only can he tell funny stories, funny situations in his songs, but at the same time he can make other songs that just they hit you, and they're all like metaphorical and stuff, and you have to try and dig into all the lyrics to understand what he's saying, and he's a fantastic artist. The Gun Show I would probably rate higher than Shine On, but The Gun Show also has twice as many songs as Shine On, but Shine On is also incredible, and has, I think, my favorite song from him on there. So, yeah, Heath McNees is a really cool artist, and I love him to death. So, there we have it. There are my 10 most influential albums of my lifetime so far. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy the videos coming out in the week or weeks to come. And yeah, I'll see you around with more content soon. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Bye. Church quiet like a get-mo Christmas. It takes all kinds in this business. The seraphim, the sheriff, and the victims. And despite all your Peter Pan wishes, it takes a criminal to know what the gift is.